Hey there.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep. Give me 1 second. You are who in this game? You're Vi?
I'm Vi.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Start the screen share. Okay, tell me when you can see it.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay. Alright. So let's get into this. Vi into Master Yi. So we got some very weird lane matchups. Oriana Karma, Olaf Ignite versus Heimerdinger, and Master Yi versus, a Twitch Maokai versus Jin Leona. Yikes. This is a pretty interesting one. Okay. So, straight off the bat, where were you planning on going this game early and why?
I think looking at the lanes, I was trying to see. I try to run through like who I think is gankable and who has some like kill pressure. And so first off, I don't really see mid as any kind of like viable option.
Okay.
I feel like top is going to end up pushing. Um, and so I thought the best course of action would be try to go bot and get uh, Twitch because I thought the Leona would be pretty aggressive. But looking back, I think my better option would have been to start blue and then go up through my wolves, take my red, and then pressure the Yi because Heimer will probably be pushing top and he'll have priority. Um, because I feel like, and I guess this is a question I wanted to ask you is like, I find it's like a relatively common matchup with Yi, and I feel like so much pressure with Yi to like punish him early game because if I don't, I find that like invariably, at least in my games, he tends to like just kind of clean up a couple kills here and there, and then the guy is just like he just scares the crap out of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as far as this matchup goes, yeah, you can definitely punish Yi. A lot of punishing early game jungle in this bracket just comes down to what's it called? It just comes down to knowing where he starts and then just playing around that because almost everyone in this ELO does very cookie cutter routes. What I mean by that is they'll always start on a buff almost. They'll go to wolves almost always next, and then they'll do their other buff, and then they look to gank. So if bot lane isn't in lane immediately, then just take that into account. Know he's starting red. He's going to be ending top side and get ready to play around that. Whether you're taking his camps or whether you're going to meet him at the end of his route and fight him or whatever, you're going to play like on the other side of the map as him. Whatever you choose to do, just make sure you're paying attention to when bot lane comes into the lane. If they come in late, then you know they leashed and he's starting bottom. And if they don't come in late, then you can probably assume he started top because I don't think many people are intelligent enough to start rafters around this bracket. So if
So I think
you
I feel like this is a bit of a clown fiesta because we both decide to try
uh,
to invade here.
God.
Uh, and so, and like, I feel like the moment I did this, I was like, this feels really bad because I don't have my Q. Because if I have my Q, then I can interrupt that stupid ass meditate.
Yeah. So
I end
stop
up getting a
chasing.
splash,
Stop
but
chasing
I
here.
end up
Yeah.
sticking around,
Yeah.
and in this clown fiesta, I end up dying at some point. I think we get first blood.
Okay. So this is really awkward. Obviously, the
Yes.
second you see him, first off, you should pop your pot because if you're gonna commit to fighting him, just immediately pop your pot. Make sure you keep an eye on the lanes here. Because no one moves, you're free to fight them. But if you're gonna go for something like this, make sure you're watching for someone to move. If you're gonna commit to this fight, Oriana like decides to start moving, but doesn't end up moving the whole way, so you're safe here. So now you know he's chunked out. You know he started top. Okay, you grab the scuttle for health, and you know he doesn't have flash, so you can just kill him. Oh, you don't flash on him.
You think I should have flashed there?
Okay. Let me just see. So first off, as soon as he starts meditating here, you want to walk behind him because his only escape route is behind. So first off, you want to get behind him instead of autoing him. Autoing him when he's got meditate on is pretty pointless. Sure. And the other thing is you want to save your what is this called? Denting blows. You want to wait. You want to save the third proc until his meditate finishes because you knew towards the end his meditate's about to wear off. You wait for his meditate to fall off before proccing it. You do a lot more damage. And then if you're behind him here and you're cutting him off this way, then he has nowhere to go and he's just dead.
Yeah, this is probably a kill. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You had okay. If you had two, oh, you did have 2 stacks. It would have been close to kill him or not. You do have flash, and you know he doesn't. So I don't think it's necessarily the right or wrong play. I think if you'd flashed there, you probably would have killed him. But it is kind of scary. And yeah, basically, you weren't paying attention to when Olaf leaves, and you keep going. So basically, the second he takes this blast and you're choosing not to pursue, you leave this. There's no point in chasing anymore because Olaf's missing now. And you see him walk through, like you have a ward here. Like the second, like if you wanted to pursue, you flash for it and you kill him. And if you don't, then you just leave. There's no point in long chasing after. Like, why would you chase after you'd already let him go? Like, it makes no sense. You're just giving the enemy team even more time to respond. You get ghosted on here. Thankfully you still have your flash. Okay. Flash could have been a bit better. Running straight to Karma here. God, this is a mess. Okay. So, first off, there's a lot of different things you could do here. As soon as Olaf ghosts onto you here, and he starts chasing you this way, and he full commits to you, I'd say once he's ignites you, he's full committing. Just flash over this side. Just flash over this way. He can't follow you over the wall.
Flash, right?
He can't follow you over the wall. He takes ghost and he gray ghosted. You're immediately out. If you want to try to fight with a bait, one that's really bad in solo queue because you never want to have to trust your team that much in solo queue to play a fight with this many variables out properly. But the second you flash there, you have no choice. You should be walking straight to Karma. Straight to Karma, so he can shield you ASAP. To shield you ASAP, and then just turn on Olaf. You're not gonna get away from Olaf here. Like you might as well just turn and start putting out damage immediately. You delay in putting out damage, and Olaf starts leaving, so you have to walk into the other two. And the only reason you don't die instantly is because Heimer hits a good grenade on both of them. Like you just turn immediately as soon as your team's there. Like you cannot walk out of this without your flash, so you just turn immediately instead of waiting to turn. Because you wait to turn, Olaf gets closer to his team. They just put damage on you, and then he finishes you off. Literally the only reason you don't die instantly is because the Heimer hits a good grenade and then your team carries this fight really, really hard. But yeah, just yeah. So that's about it for this invade. So here you just buy Hunter's Talisman and a control ward, and that's it.
But I still feel like it was a really weird, awkward decision for me to invade without level 3. Because knowing that
generally if you're going to invade, you just start E and then you take Q and then you go. Yeah, it hurts your clear a bit, but if you're planning on level 2 invading straight after the red buff, then you might as well just do E into Q, so you can actually chase and kill people. You would have instantly killed E pretty much had you done that. So goodbye. Go back in your bot side.
I think I was thinking, if I remember correctly, I was thinking of starting top so I could
invade the blue and he wouldn't be there.
Invade his blue.
Okay, but still, in that case, you have to be ready for the fact that either you're going to get collapsed on because it's warded, or that he's there already. So yeah, this is a really, really awkward game already. So definitely want to get your level 3 before you go do anything else. Okay, just clearing the blue buff. Uh-oh, what are you doing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is a big mistake. So,
I should have seen them if I was just watching the minimap.
um,
Right? Oh, can we turn off the...
it's beyond the mini map. It's more that like as soon as they hit this plant, like here, I'll just turn it to your vision too. Like as soon as they hit this plant, you know where they
I
are,
should be
and
the
you
hell.
you walk
Get the hell out of
towards
here.
them. And the other thing is, you should never be doing blue buff like this. You should always pull it into the bush. Never just sit there and do it. Always pull it into the bush first.
Okay.
It's a good habit just to get. It's good to get in the habit of just kiting jungle camps too, not just like sitting there and letting them beat on you. I can explain that a little later, probably after we finish the replay, because that's actually a small thing that's really important. I haven't really.
But see, so like I've watched I've watched a lot of your videos. So
Okay.
typically when I watch you kite the blue, you'll kite down so that you're like further away. You're further like into your path, and then you can like go down into the river. But in that case, like given I'm going to Gromp, I probably wouldn't want to kite down, right? I
No,
probably
you'd
because
kite.
I'm going to Gromp.
Yeah, you'd kite to the right.
Side.
Yeah, kite to the side. Also, the way you kite, I don't know which videos you watched, but the Graves has to kite a bit differently than other champs. So
yeah, I've seen you go like down and then side to side, right?
Yeah, Graves is because Graves that's where you have to do it. Other champions is a bit different. Generally, you kind of just kite to the next camp you're going to.
Yeah.
But I'll do an example clear for you after because it's really important. You lose a lot of health if you're clearing improperly, and a lot of speed too. I'll actually do a side-by-side comparison after. I haven't gotten to see too much of the clearing mechanics this game though yet because it's been such a
level 2.
Yeah,
5 minutes in.
It's been such a fiesta. So all this shit is irrelevant to you. You gotta get your level 3 first. Don't even bother. Like there's no point in going to any of this because you're flashless, and you don't have Q. Like you're level 2. Like you're so far behind pace already that going for stuff like this is just a complete waste of your time. You're not actually useful here at all. At the very least, you have to get your Q, and I wouldn't even step out of the jungle until I'm level 4 at this point if I was ever this far behind. To put it in, a good way to benchmark is you want to be level 6 right when your first buff respawns. Either right before it respawns, which is good pace, or right after you kill it, which is just normal pace. Yeah, that's the pace you should be trying to hold yourself to. It's not like an end-all be-all thing. Like if you're like 5.5 after you finish it, it's not the end of the world. If you're only hitting 5 after clearing it, then you're a bit behind for sure. But that's just a good pace benchmarking to set yourself to test yourself to see if you're being efficient with your path. This game, like obviously, you probably won't make it there because you haven't cleared anything really. But for the future in a more normal game, that's what you should be aiming for. So. You haven't really had an opportunity to do anything, really. So, clear this out. Cutting it to the back, good.
So, can you, because I honestly, like, I don't have as much time to spend on the game as I'd like. So, like, I've heard you talk about the XP, and I've seen people complain on Reddit about, like, the catch-up XP mechanics.
Okay. Yes.
Like, how does that work? Because like I can see here that I go from 2 to 4, like that was really fast.
Yeah.
But is it because of the catch-up XP mechanics?
Catch-up XP is part of it. You were definitely way under level for the game. Basically, later camps give a lot more EXP than early camps, and because this season compared to last season, camps spawn a lot slower, so a lot of the EXP, like each camp itself gives a lot more EXP. So it's just really easy for people who fall far behind in EXP to just rubber band back up to a solid level. Whereas if you're a really high level already, then you get like reduced EXP from the camps, so it's a lot harder to accrue a lead. And the reason they did this is because last season it was extremely cancerous to
just farm
do anything,
time, right?
Yeah, because there's many times where, like, let's say I do a standard route and I go gank bot lane at level 3 and I get a double kill, but in response to me going bot lane, the enemy jungler takes my Gromp and my wolves on top side, and then suddenly I'm down a level the whole game and I never recover because the way jungle XP worked was that there was very limited catch-up XP, and there weren't as much of a diminishing return for getting EXP from camps when you're already ahead of the curve. So basically, you're extremely disincentivized to gank because the second you gank and they take your opposite side camps, you're just down a level the whole game, and it's really not even worth. It's not even worth it. But you don't really have to concern yourself too much with that.
Okay.
That stuff is really only a problem for like higher level play, where people actually punish that, or people actually accrue leads like that. Okay. So turning back to television. So you have to back up here because you don't have mid priority. Mashi finds you in the river. You're level up, but you use Q on Scuttle already, so you can't really do anything to him. And Oriana responds first, so you just back off. That's fine. So you're extremely behind. You're barely level 4, right as your first buff is respawning. This Mastery is even further behind you. You smite this? Why don't you smite this? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Did
this...
I have smite up?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Definitely.
I think I just wasn't paying any attention.
Yeah, your smite's up. Your smite's definitely up, yeah. So yeah, getting pushed off the scuttler is whatever. But going for this red buff and just not smiting it is pretty unacceptable. I'm not really sure what you're doing here. Doesn't make any sense to not smite this. You only have one other camp up, and the other thing is you don't pull this to the bush, so you don't ever see him coming, and you don't ward beforehand. So not only does he get the buff and hit level 4 on you, you don't heal because you're not kiting it, you don't pull it to the bush, you don't see him coming, you don't smite for HP, nothing, you just die for free. And you're just even more behind now. Like, yikes. So I guess at this point you would just buy jungle item and longsword. Yeah, it's not really much else to buy. So he's on your... He gets caught on your Krugs. Your team's actually bailing you out real hard here. And okay, you waited extra long for a longsword. Okay, to pair up with your boots. That's fine. Wait, did you sell your controller? Oh no, you placed it earlier. Okay, that's fine. So you just pass straight down your bot quadrant. Master Yi took your Krugs if you're paying attention on the map, so you got nothing to farm there. You just gotta go straight to bot side, and you really can't do anything at this point because you've set yourself so far behind with all these unnecessary deaths and whatnot, and just being wasteful with your time in general. So big wave to catch bottom here. It's good that you recognize that. Okay. It's fine. Just go back to you're a jungler. You're not expected to know how to last hit, especially not in this bracket. So. You get your Gromp here, that's fine. Your smite is up. You could save it for blue buff, it's probably best.
Yeah, so question for this is, like, I'm always unsure of what the optimal decision is when I have like a combat smite. So how do you make the decision of when you use it on a camp versus when to save the charge for a gank?
Depends if I need the health to go gank. Depends on what I'm going to do after. Like, if I'm going to go invade, I'll probably hold on to one smite unless I really need it for the health, in which case I probably just won't invade. And if I'm going to gank, I try to keep one smite ready. I tend to give myself one smite to use on a camp, so I need to premeditate which camp is going to do the most damage to me. So I make sure I smite that one, and then I keep one to gank if I plan on ganking. And if I'm like, don't plan on ganking, then I'll just use both, and then usually that'll be like right before I take a base. So like, for example, let's say I have 2 smites, I'll smite rafters, and then I'll go smite Krugs, and then I'll base, and then by the time I'm back out on the map, I'll usually have 1 smite charge ready again. So yeah, that's about it. So once again, well, not once again. This is something that you seem to have a habit of. When you have small camps up, it's almost, or like buffs up, it's almost always better to do those before you get the scuttle, because then you get the respawn timer ticking earlier for your camps. You don't really care about the respawn time for the scuttle as much, especially when you're behind. If you're ahead, then you have the luxury to kind of spend some time, waste some uptime on your camps to secure vision for your team with the scuttle, but for the most part, especially when you're behind, it's really scary to walk into the river for the scuttle if you don't see where the jungler is. You did see him in this case, but especially when you've got camps up too, be very careful about doing the scuttle, because it is not close. The EXP and gold, the gold's pretty close, but the EXP you get from it is not close to how much you get from a normal camp. So good smite, I mean good ward there to defend yourself. Okay, don't channel your Q just looking for a buff like that, because now
Yeah, I'm escapeless.
you're escapeless for a bit here, and you're kind of just running around without any idea of what you're doing here. This is a pretty serious problem that a lot of below plat and even some plat junglers have. Like, you're just wandering around aimlessly. So you finish. So let's take a look at this. Okay, you finish Raptors at 9:38. Okay, so let's see the next time you actually do something productive on the map. You look for the red. It's not there. You walk around. Walk back, 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 walk forward, walk back, walk back, walk back, and now you channel Q and start doing the Krugs. You essentially waste 30 seconds doing nothing. If you're efficient with your time, you can literally clear out 2 camps and then start walking to your third in those 30 seconds. You need to have an idea in your head of what you're going to do before you do it, like as you're doing it. You shouldn't, if you're at a point where you have to think about how to clear the camp as your champion, then you probably shouldn't be playing that champion, or you need to be taking that champion into practice tool and brushing up on the mechanics. Because what should be going through your head when you're killing rafters is not, oh, my E comes up in 2 seconds, I'm going to use that to kill the rafters. What should be going through your head is, what am I going to do after these rafters? You know, if you had just said, okay, I'm going to look for his red buff, and if it's not there, I'm going to look for his Krugs, then you literally just saved yourself 20, 25 seconds. But instead, you waste that time doing nothing because you're not thinking about what you should be while you're clearing this camp. You're thinking about how to clear the camp, or you're just maybe you're just not thinking at all. I really don't know, but you need to have a plan in your mind. Whether it's a good or bad plan, you'll learn from just playing and stuff like this, just going over bots. But like, at least it's better to do something and do it poorly. I mean, it's better to make a mistake doing something than just do nothing at all, because you don't, like, there's literally nothing. You just don't accomplish anything in these 25 seconds, and I doubt you remember what's just going through your head either. So I can't really.
I think what was going through my head was like, should I wait for Yi and I can collapse on him for some reason? Like, that's what I was thinking. I think something like that.
Then you would just wait in a bush instead of wandering around aimlessly. Yeah. You just pick something to do. So you get your 6 here, and you look for bottom. They're quite pushed. Mid lane's fighting, and you change your mind and make your way over to middle. So this looks like it's gonna work out. You flash over.
I think I just barely miss.
Okay, so yep. Okay.
I probably should have smited him earlier, eh?
Okay, so small mechanical. Well, 2 things here. One, this is something you should try to get out of the habit of, or you like deciding on one thing and then you see something else happen and you play reactively. It works out here, but a lot of the time it's not going to work out because just in general you don't have very good judgment until you're like, even like down 5 players kind of lacking judgment. What I'll tell you is it's usually better to just fully commit to one thing rather than change your mind halfway unless you're 100% sure you'll be able to impact the outcome of it, because it's a really easy way to waste your time or like throw a game, because like you see one dude making a misplay and then your mind's set on one thing, but then you see it happen and you change your mind, and it takes time. For one, it takes time to get back over to switch plays, and then 2, very often people are too inclined to try to help out in situations that they can't really help and they probably wouldn't work themselves into willingly, but they do it anyway because they think they can try to save someone. And it's a very easy way it's one of the most common ways to throw a game, because like someone will like chase or something when you should in reality be hitting like a turret or a baron, and then suddenly everyone will be like, oh, we have to try to save this guy, and then everyone dies, they get baron, you lose the game, stuff like that. So it ends up working out here to an extent. You get the trade kill. You don't save karma, which sucks, but you do at least get the trade kill. But just in general, try to stay away from plays like this. It's a bad habit to get into. So the biggest mistake here is that you flash Q and then you don't auto E after while he's CC'd. So the correct combo is you flash Q here. So this flash Q is good, and then you're supposed to auto E and then R. Because even if he flashes immediately from your Q, which he doesn't have in this case, your R still follows the flash. You still have enough range to follow the flash with your R. So you always want to auto E after you Q to get the W proc off, and then press the R. So not only Do you get extra damage for proccing your W early? Your R will get the bonus damage from the armor shred. So make sure you're in the habit of that combo. You don't even have to smite if you've done that otherwise. But you like layer your CC directly on top of each other, so you have to end up smiting him. Okay, so now you just go shove up middle because Karma died. Okay. That's fine. Then you go farm your jungle. You got a bunch of camps up. His red buff's spawning, but you have a bunch of camps up. So, oh god. And gank's over. Gank's over.
Okay, so I got a question about like the one lane that like I like have a total aversion to ganking because I feel like half the time, like such a large percent of the time, because of CC or disengage, like bot lane to me feels like such a low EV gank a lot of the time. But is it because, like in this case, so I'm coming to bot, I'm thinking we have two amount like Jin and Leona have CC. Maokai can keep us can CC one of us, but ultimately the guy I'm trying to get is Twitch. But in this case, because of the ultimate, we all kind of get screwed.
So what are you asking? Like, do you think...
I guess like, is there a way I should have approached this gank differently?
You shouldn't have ganked at all.
Yeah.
Just straight up, this is a bad game. You don't have your ultimate. You have 3 camps that are close in proximity that are readily available for you to do, and you're already behind on EXP. You know there's a high chance of getting counter gank because Master Yi should be in the area getting his red buff, and you go for this gank without knowing if this is like this isn't control warded, this isn't control warded. You have no idea what their vision is like, and you run straight through. Yes, Leona has like a terrible ultimate, but it's just a low percentage gank in general, and you guys don't play it well either. And the second your Q gets cancelled, you should just be running the fuck away. I don't know why you over pursue here. Just like pay attention to like your cooldowns, because it's very obvious. Like we'll just break it down, right? I'll freeze it for you right at the moment where this gank is over.
It's when I get cancelled over the Q.
Yeah, right? Like right.
Because then like my damage is done.
Here, what do you? Okay, you freeze this train right now. What the hell are you gonna do, right? How are you gonna succeed in this game from here?
Yeah.
There's no way. It's just in reality. There's no way. You don't have flash. You don't have ultimate. If you did have flash and you did have ultimate, you still might not succeed this game. But just straight up, like Twitch is gonna be stealth now. The best chance that all you have, the only thing you can hit is this guy, and you don't want to hit this guy. He's way too tanky. You just used all your cooldowns on Twitch. Just leave. There's no point in sticking around at all. Like you need to just learn to identify situations. Like the second like you blow a bunch of cooldowns and someone flashes away, and like, or just like in this case you get cucked by Maokai and he stealths away, just abort the gank. Like there's no need to go any further, especially this should be the other dissuader. Like the second this comes out, like it's like even more in your head, like even more warning bells should be going off in your head, like oh this gank is fucked, like it's over. But you actually step up forward and get chunked even more. Like in a real game, like okay, I don't want to say in a real game, but like it's very possible, like if this guy had TP, he just TPs on you, or like mid lane roams, or like this guy peels off red buff, just runs down and kills you, or if this guy's even stronger, or Maokai has anything left, he just snares you and you're dead. Like just it's multiple times this game. Like as soon as your cooldowns are blown, just like don't be averse to just like aborting the game. Like it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of your health. Had you got chunked even lower, you might not even be able to clear out the rest of your camps, and like I said, you're already far behind pace. So like you should only be looking for ganks that are basically like near 100% success rate in your head right now. And I don't think, or I hope, when you were walking down here, you weren't in your head thinking like, oh boy, here comes the easy gank on the enemy bot lane with Maokai level 6 and Twitch being 2 levels up on my 80 carry and me having no ultimate, no flash. It's like this is a low percentage gank to begin with, and the decision to execute the gank itself becomes even worse due to the fact that you have so many camps up available to you. Like you're like allergic to farming this game. I'm really unsure about your decision making as far as this goes. That guy's decision making is even worse. Wow. That was a very interesting decision from me. Okay. Let's just turn into a full fiesta.
This is fine.
Okay. And you're dead. But yeah. Like you just gotta learn how to identify these situations faster. When you don't have your cooldowns, or you don't have a flash, or you don't have your ultimate, you already don't want to be looking for many ganks. And the second like it gets repelled, like the first sign of it getting repelled, even more warning bells should be going off in your head about, oh, just it's time to leave. But it doesn't seem like you have that in your head. Like you need to really think about like what you have at your arsenal and not just like blindly follow your teammates in, because that's what ends up, like this shit ends up happening when you do. Like you're so far behind in this game at this moment. So yeah. Look at all this, like all these camps that have been up for so long. Like we can even rewind all the way back to like here, like even further actually, even further, even further, even further. Right around like after, like right after this. So your blue buff and your wolves have been here for even longer. Your blue buff's up at, what time is it? 9:22. Okay, let's see when your wolves have, how long your wolves have been up, and your rafters have been up. Uh-oh. Okay, so okay, not that long actually. So your wolves come up at 8:44. Your rafters should be soon after, because you cleared them through properly last time, and that's actually what you just should have done here. Doing the scuttle was fine. It's not the best decision in the world, but you have some downtime in between blue and you want to clear through, then that's fine. You get the scuttle right here and then you go to get your blue. So Rafters is up now. It came up like 10 seconds ago, so like 9:16, 8:44, 9:25-ish. So let's see when you actually, like, all this happens, right? All this happens. It's still down. Like, it's still up. It's still up. You waste so much time here that your Gromp fucking comes back up. That's how little you've been farming this game, and how little you've been paying attention to keeping your farm up. And then you end up dying here even longer, even longer, even longer. Because this fight keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. You end up diving and then you end up dying. Even fucking worse, because now you can't even clear. And you buy a warrior here, you should buy another control, and then by the time you actually make it back onto the map, you've respawned now, and you start walking into your like jungle. Everything's not, it's not even the fact that everything's up. You could have done this shit 3.5 minutes ago. And you know, do you know what the respawn timer is for small caps?
2.5 minutes?
2.5 minutes. You literally could have full cleared your jungle. You literally could have full cleared your jungle in the time that you got 1 kill on Oriana that took your flash and like 2 assists bottom. 1 kill on Oriana is 300 gold. Assists, you know, probably give you like 75 gold each because it was pretty much shared assists. You could have cleared this, 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 then cleared this and this and this again. The EXP is not even close. The gold, probably like 200, 300 more for the jungle camps. But what is more guaranteed? You know, like the bot lane gank or clearing your camps safely? It's a very obvious answer. And that answer is always consistent because your teammates are going to play different champions every game. Your teammates are going to be different skill levels every game. Your enemy team's champions are going to be different every game. Enemy team's skill level is going to be different every game. What's going to be the same, or what should be the same, is how you play and the champions you play. And, you know, no matter what champion you play, you're going to get the same EXP. You're going to get the same gold for killing jungle camps. The jungle camp spawn timer is always going to be the same. That shit doesn't change. So utilize that stuff. Stop walking around and taking these fucking fiesta fights that you have no idea what the outcome is going to be like. And the worst part is you take them without half of your fucking cooldown arsenal available. You don't have your ultimate and your flash for this whole fucking bot lane fight. And you opt into it anyway, and you blindly follow your team and just die. Like, you need to just look out for yourself and just make smart, informed decisions, you know? I don't have my ultimate. The enemy bot lane's way ahead of my enemy bot lane. my bot lane's feeding, so they probably aren't very good, and then I have no ultimate, I have no flash. Why am I ganking this? You need to run through that in your head, you know? There should be like a checklist you go through before you go to gank. Like, what's my HP? What's my mana? What's my ultimate cooldown? What's my flash cooldown? What are the enemy cooldowns? What's the enemy power level like? Where's the enemy position like? You should be running through all those before you execute a gank. And if like a lot of those aren't met, like almost all of those weren't met there, then just don't gank. Your job as a jungler is not to gank. That's part of your job, sure. You know, you can accomplish some of your jobs by ganking, sure. But your job is to make sure you're keeping your lanes afloat and neutralizing the enemy jungler, either by playing him to a standstill, by keeping your farm up the same with his, or just going invading and tracking him or killing him. And so far this game, you've done absolutely none of those. You know, all of your lanes have been self-sufficient. You have not tracked Master Yi well. You've dropped like 2 wards in his jungle, which is, you know, with how far behind you are, it's kind of okay. But like the reason you're far behind is because you've made poor decisions the whole game, really. You need to just make sure you're making informed decisions and just paying attention to your camps. Like, your camps are way more important than what you're giving them credit for right now. Okay. So this is fine. Like, you're making a play, this dude's way too deep, your teammate's right next to you, and you get the kill and you're still right next to your camp. That's completely fine. This gank, like, it met a lot of criteria. Where was his positioning? Deep in your jungle. Where's your teammates? Like this, your Karma is ahead of the Orianna for sure. It's in your jungle. You have your ultimate up. You have your flash up. It's a great gank. Or it's whatever you want to call it, catch, gank, whatever.
Sure.
But this is like this checks off like a bunch of things. You're at full HP. You have full mana. All that shit. You're following up on someone who's strong. All of the boxes are met. So that's fine. But like you need to make sure you're taking those into account for everything you do. It seems like you kind of just see something, or you see like an enemy champion, or you see like your team going in, you're like, oh, I gotta go. That's not how it works. You know, if your team is bad, you leave them to die sometimes. You know, if they're making terrible decisions, you don't jump off the bridge with them. You stay on the bridge and look at those guys and say, wow, those guys are idiots. You don't jump off with them.
Well, I think part of my playstyle is probably overreacting a little bit, in the sense that I think before I used to kind of just farm and never react, and now I feel like trying to overreact to everything. But I think I'm trying to watch my minimap more, because I feel like a lot of the times, like you called it earlier in that first bad decision up top, I didn't watch Olaf.
Yeah.
Like once I'm in a fight, like I cannot almost, like, even though I try, I can't focus on the minimap. It seems I'm always focusing on just what's in front of me.
You play with minimap on your right?
Yeah, bottom right.
You can try moving it to the bottom left. A lot of people have told me it makes it easier for them because it's closer to like the proximity of like what's like actually happening. The bottom right is kind of like out of the way. You could try that. As far as like minimap goes, like smaller resolution, I've heard have helped a few people too. But those are the only two real things that I've found that actually helps people with looking at the minimap.
Because on average, like, how often are your eyes scanning the minimap?
Depends on what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah.
If I'm just like killing jungle camps in my own jungle, I'm F-keying, so I don't really need to look at the minimap as much. F-keying is something that comes later. You got to get the basics down before you even start doing that. But I'd say you can also get a sticky note and just like put it somewhere on your monitor and just like have it say like, look at your minimap every 10 seconds or something. But the thing is, like, that's not always the case either, because when you're invading, it's way more important that you look at your minimap than when you're clearing like the camps. Like,
yeah.
Obviously it's always nice to be looking at it just so you can pan over either with mouse or F keys, whatever, to see what's going on. But especially when you're evading, it's way more important than it is otherwise, because you need to know when the collapse and if the collapse is coming.
Sure.
Jesus Christ. Alright.
I think I held my... Yeah, I did hold my ultimate.
No, you don't
Oh,
have
is
your
it?
ultimate.
Is it
No,
down?
it's down. It's
down.
definitely down.
Oh yeah, it's down.
I mean, I guess. Like, there's not really much to say about this. You didn't have an exit, so you just stood and fought him, so I guess that's good. There's not really else much to say about that. He just decided to hand you over a kill.
Duel.
Okay. Okay, so in this case, it's actually better for you to go farm out
Full
your
clear.
top side. Yeah, because one, you know he's not invading you because he's dead. Two, your bot lane is already like in a bad position and you're way too low to gank. Mid lane is stuck in his lane. Top lane's gonna push and recall because he just killed your top laner. So you're free to full clear here, and these camps have been sitting up for a long time.
Yeah, so
So
this is a good time for me to
this is just a
reset,
full time
right?
to clear. No, full clear and then reset.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I meant. Full clear and then
Yeah.
reset.
Yep. Why are you?
Okay, and
So why are you
in
pathing
terms
bottom
of
here?
okay, before I answer that, because I probably don't have a good reason.
Okay.
So in terms of build path,
Okay.
I basically almost always go Trinity Force or Sheen first if I can afford it. But in this type of game, obviously, like I'm fed and I'm super ahead, it makes sense for me to build Trinity Force and then build tank after that and just kind of take that kind of path. But in the case where I'm in this position where ultimately I'm probably going to need to play more supportive, like what would be an alternative build path? Is it Black Cleaver?
Dead Man's Plate or Knight's Vow or Righteous. I don't know how Righteous Glory is on Vi. It sounds pretty bad.
Dead Man's Plate is often the item I buy after Trinity Force, so like it would make sense to just start building tank.
I'll tell you straight up, if you're gonna play Vi, you probably just have to do Trinity Force, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I was
in
thinking
almost
too.
every case.
Yeah.
If you're really behind, then just get like a Knight's Vow and like a Stone Plate and a Locket and just play full support. But if you're playing Vi and you get to that point, like the game's probably fucked anyway. It honestly won't matter too much. This champion is super reliant on Trinity Force. It's kind of like if you play Hecarim and you're like, oh, I fell behind early, time to go full tank. It's like, well, you're just never going to be useful at that point then, so you might as well just try to get it anyway and see what happens, because you're just too useful. You're too useless otherwise. So, yeah, pathing bottom made absolutely no sense here. Looks like you're changing your mind though. If you've watched some of my stuff, I talk about when you enter a quadrant, make sure you're entering on the far side, because when entering on the far side, you give yourself more options because you path towards the middle, and then when you're on rafters or when you're on wolves, you have a lot more options to go to every lane because it's a shorter walk than like if you want to go Gromp and then suddenly top becomes gankable, you have to skip your camps and it's a long ass walk and it's just a mess. So make sure when you're entering the jungle off a base or a death, you're heading to a quadrant and then clearing downwards, and every single time you clear a camp, you check in. Top gankable, mid gankable, no, keep clearing. Top gankable, mid clear, gankable, if not, keep clearing. Raptors, top gankable, mid gankable, if not, keep clearing, and then you just kind of want to check in every single time you finish a camp, and then look, not the other way around.
Yeah.
You don't want to say, like, immediately as you start the camp, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go gank. You always want to check in after you clear it, and then check, and if it's not there, then you just keep clearing. And you always want to path in a way that you can do that. You don't ever want to path to, like, let's say like wolves was up here, you just go straight to your wolves and then you're like, oh, time to go gank bottom or something. Like you always want to path in a way that like you have camps next to you and you're not wasting your time. Just make sure like you're looking after every camp, and then if it's not gankable, then you still have camps next to you that you can keep farming to keep your EXP and gold up. So this is good. You look for a second, and then you realize there's absolutely nothing in gank because no one's even in the lanes. And then you go get your red. Oh. Still nothing gankable, so you go get Krugs. Clear your Krugs out. Okay.
I think I go to help.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. Yep. So they're gonna do Herald here. There's really not much to say about that. Just go help Hybrid break top turret. God, what are you doing? Okay, you drop a ward, and then you should go help him right top turret. Good. Okay. Yeah, just give him the gold. Yeah, just make sure he gets it. You probably didn't even have to show, but that's not a big deal. So... I don't know what you're doing. Okay. Oh, okay, he showed. Okay, that was pretty free. Same thing as before, though.
Yeah.
If you're going to commit to something, don't waste your don't second guess yourself. Just go do the play, and then if it works, great. If it doesn't, just learn from it. Don't hesitate like you were here.
I think this one wasn't as much hesitating as I was hoping he would just for whatever reason wander within Q range, but then I was like, okay, he's not, so I'll just go. I think I was hoping he might just.
Oh, it's more just the fact that you walk this way outwards first, and then turn back, just walk straight down. You could start on the Grom too, beforehand, and then once you see him show, then you're like, oh, let me just queue over and kill him. Yeah, yeah. It's just a small thing, but
Okay.
yeah. Give me 1 second. Need to bear back. Okay, sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay. Peter killing Yi. Olaf shows back up. Heimer wants to base. Okay, that tower is glitched. It's actually dead. Was not first blood turret. You guys lost mid a lot earlier. You take his camps here because he's dead. That's good. Just make sure you keep an eye on Olaf. If he disappears, then you need to know it's time to start booking it.
Yeah.
So, there's camps here. Take the blast plan out towards middle. That's fine. Put out the mid wave because he's bottom. Can't really pressure the turret safely, so you start walking. You can just path into bot side here. You can just path into his. Oh, you don't have a ward to drop. Never mind. If you had a ward to drop, you'd just go do it right then. Instead, you find Orion in the river.
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. God. Just so random that he's pathing up that way. Okay. So now you should just go bottom, because your team's got a lot of kills there, and you can just help them secure the turret. They probably don't need your help just because now they killed Twitch.
I do go bottom.
Yep. Okay. Kind of late to the play, but it doesn't really matter that much. The fact that you're here is good. Free dive on Master Yi. Yep. Okay. Good job. Just help them hit the turret. And... oh god, what is he doing?
He's thanking me.
Okay. Alright, that's fine. And you can take his camps. Once again, at the very least, you can take the Krugs.
I think so. Where do you prioritize Dragon here?
I don't touch Dragon in solo queue, basically. Very rare that I'll touch it in solo queue.
Infernal? Even if it's a Mountain Infernal?
If it's Infernal, I usually will, but only if it's beneficial for me still. Basically, like if I have nothing else up and it won't hurt my lanes. If it's Mountain, I don't care. It's literally only Infernal. Because basically, Dragon in solo queue is like, the way I look at it is like, it's not going to win you the game, but it can definitely lose you the game. Like if you take a fight there that you didn't want to fight for. Like, because
when they collapse on you, it's
yeah,
brutal.
It's, you don't ever want to team fight in solo queue, just because team fighting in solo queue is the easiest way to lose because there's too many variables. It's a lot easier. The example I'll always use is if you take a challenger player, you stick him in Diamond 5, you have him play out normal games from the start. He'll have probably like a 90% win rate. But you take him, you put him into a 30-minute game where it's even, and you say, here, go win the game now. He'll probably have like a, anywhere from like 60 to like 70, 75 win rate. Like he's still going to be the best player in the server, but it's way harder to carry a team fight, especially depending on your champion, than it is to carry
the early game.
A game in general, because there's just so many more variables in a team fight, and there's very few champions that can just 1v5 a team fight unless you're like massively ahead already. So yeah, and that applies obviously not as much in lower elo, or just like when you're playing in the bracket you belong in, but it still applies. Like generally, and as for like when I coach people too, like I can tell you what you should have done in a fight, but at the end of the day, it's still like very split-second decisions that you have to make in a pressure situation. So while I can tell you in every specific situation, this is what's best, it's usually not even that important, because that stuff's going to change every game, right? Because everyone plays different champs every game. You're going to be a different level of fed every game. You know, every situation is different. The best that you can do is just make sure you clean up your early game to the point where you have leads, so you have a lot more leeway to play like skirmishes and team fights out, because you've already amassed such a gold lead. So, Dragon, also, the other part of Dragon is that it gives you basically the same amount of EXP and gold as one camp. It does not give you a lot. It gives you less gold than one camp, and it gives you like a comparable amount of EXP. So basically, you literally only do it for the Dragon benefit, so you only ever want to do it if it's free, so you don't have to team fight for it, and you either have no camps up left to do,
yeah, nothing else to do,
or like it's an important Dragon. Like basically, you have bot side up here, so I would just do bot side, fuck the Dragon. And if you had no bot side up left, unless it's Infernal, and if you did have bot side up then, and if it's Infernal, I do it over my bot side. Any other Dragon, not doing it over my bot side. If I have no bot side up, then sure, I'll do it. But that's about it. Don't put priority on Dragon and solo queue. So you have Trinity Force. So just go back after this. Oh god, what the hell? That guy's insane. You got no mana, just go back. You have bot side up to do, but you can just recall, go get your Trinity, and then go do it. Perfect. Okay. Get your Trinity, get a control, get your sweeper. Okay, good. Perfect, bye. And where are you passing? Yikes.
These extended team fights with Twitch are brutal.
Yikes. Okay, so for starters, you don't want to commit too hard in this fight because you don't have your ultimate, you don't have your flash. So hitting frontline on Olaf here is fine at the very start. Like this shit is fine because he just walks in. For starters, save your Q. There's no point in queuing him as soon as he ults. Just save your Q until after his ult finishes.
Sure. Okay.
Just walk up and EM here instead of what you do, which is you waste your Q.
Okay. Yeah.
Just EM, keep being him, and then like so basically like your Q would be up here, and you could Q him here, and he gets stuck, and maybe you guys could burst him down, or like you would keep chasing, and then the second Twitch opens up, your Q is up, and you can just Q out. This guy's a little more fed, you're just instantly dead here, and the fight's over. And then you start channeling here, but you don't go. It's a good decision because you're way too low. Just go clear. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing with the Triforce build is once I get it, I'm really strong, but I'm super squishy. I can't just go into these things or else.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to pick and choose your fights a lot better than you probably have the knowledge to. But that doesn't mean you don't build it. Just because it's still like baseline most efficient. Okay.
I think they both die here.
Probably.
Oh man.
It's fine.
Brutal. I think I die.
Yeah. The mechanical stuff is whatever. That stuff comes and goes. But what you really should be worrying about is the pathing and stuff.
The macro play.
Yep. Because like it's the same thing here. Like how long have your bot side been up?
Yeah.
Really. Like So, so as far as this game goes, Ninja Tabi for sure. That should be your next item. At least buy cloth armor. What are you doing? Oh god. Okay, so you just held on Aria Gold. This is definitely a cloth armor game. They got 3 auto attackers. And the Oriana's not ahead. So, what are you doing? Wait, what are you doing? What? God. Yeah. That's gonna be your #1 thing to improve on, I can already tell you right now. Like, you need to just figure out what the fuck you're doing and do it. Because it looks like you're just wandering. You're just taking a nice stroll through Summoner's Rift, admiring the scenery. Every now you stop and look at the jungle camps and clear 1 or 2. But you're kind of just like aimlessly walking around otherwise. You're wasting a bunch of your time because you have no idea what you want to do. You just gotta think. You just gotta stop autopiloting and make a decision about what you want to do. In a lot of these situations, that's your problem. Okay. Twitch shows up in the back. Once again, you don't auto. I'll get out all the mechanical stuff like right after, like the clearing and all that. So it's better. It's easier to just show you as well. Yeah, like this. There's really not much to take because a lot of these fights are just, yeah, like none of these fights have any like rhyme or reason to them. There's no front line. There's no front line or anything, and there's no like front to back. People just show up randomly, and then you kind of just have to scramble and respond to the situation as fast as you can. And a lot of that stuff just changes every game. I'm actually probably just gonna speed through this and then talk about the early game some more if there's nothing I see really here, because a lot of this stuff is just extremely variable game to game. It's not really too important to talk about, like mechanical stuff and just random decisions.
But I guess, like, so let's say I'm on my Gromp and the team starts fighting. Shouldn't I be leaving my Gromp for the team fight regardless of what's efficient? Or that's not... If you feel like it's better that I just finish my camp and then go after it?
At this stage in the game, it's a 50-50. It depends on, like, what the fight is. Like, if it's, like, one person, like, fighting another, like, it's a 1v1 or, like, it's a very small-scale fight, then yeah, fuck it. Like, especially when it's on the other side of the map. Like, sometimes you just have to accept that things are out of your control and, like, just, like, straight up accept it. Like, the biggest example I'll just show you right here. You stop. I'm assuming you're looking at this fight. That's why you're not fucking hitting this. I hope you're not tabbed out or anything. I hope you're just looking at the fight. Look how long it's gonna take you to get to this fight. This fight's gonna be fucking over before you get there. Why do you even bother, right? Like, one way or another, this fight should be over before you make it. You need to just learn to accept if these guys really want to do something, and for starters, you're not even that strong in this game. You're about average. If you really don't want them to fight, you back ping 50 times and you pray to God, right? If it's a close fight to you, like if you're on Wolves or something, or you're on Rafters, then yeah, sure, get the hell off your camp and go. But like, you're literally on the other side of the map. Like, these camps have been up for a long time. You would really like Tabi at least before the next fight. You're not particularly ahead. You're ahead of Master Yi, but you're not like ahead of the curve in the game. You're about where you should be, if not like a little bit behind, because you haven't been clearing super efficiently this game. Just like learn to accept and read situations. Like, that's like a huge thing. Like, you don't take into account like cooldowns on ultimate or like abilities, your summoners. You don't take into account like your HP and your mana as much as you should. I'm sure you take into account to an extent. Everyone does to an extent. And like, obviously, like position too. Like, look how far you are from this fight. Like, Karma's dead before you make it to this fight. Why would you ever even think about fighting without Karma, who's literally like your most fed person on your team? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, you need to just accept that, like, if stuff happens and you're too far, then you don't just drop everything and go. Like, sometimes shit happens and it sucks. And the best you can do is make sure you're efficient on dot with all this stuff. Because if you're clearing all your camps efficiently and properly, you can be grouped with your team a lot more than you probably think you can in reality. But because you're always efficient, you're like always like doing Like you always have stuff to farm, and you never really seem to find time in your head to go do stuff because you always leave your camps up because you're extremely inefficient, and it all comes from just being inefficient and not doing what you're supposed to be doing in the time allotted. Like, you clear the jungle so fast. It takes you maybe 30 seconds to clear out this whole quadrant at this point. And if your team can't wait 30 seconds for you to clear, then that's their own fault. If you just pay attention like to what you should be doing on the map and clearing the map properly, then like you won't find yourself in the situation so much where like your team is doing something on the other side of the map and you find yourself on the opposite side and having to scramble to make it over. Like, you're putting yourself in these situations because you don't clear efficiently.
Okay.
So, it's really... I don't think much of this rest of this game will be productive.
Yeah, it's just kind of a stomp from here.
Let me just watch one more fight. I'll give it one more fight and see. If not, then I'm just gonna go back to the early game and just finish up on that. So it's like, yeah, like, no one knows how to rotate or anything. Like, you have to just brute force with the lead in the early game and just like run that through, honestly. But yeah, like, this is what happens when you so the way climbing, you should look at climbing is you're gonna have games where all your lanes win and you just win. Okay, you're gonna have games where all your lanes lose and you just lose. Those should generally cancel themselves out. What's gonna matter and what's gonna be the difference in climbing is when you have like 1 or 2 lanes that win. Maybe like if it's only 1 lane, you'll win really hard, so you have a pretty good chance to win, or like 2 of your lanes will win, or they'll go like relatively even all across the board, and it'll be up to what you do to impact the game. That and I call these like 50-50 games, and it'll be up to like what you do that tips the scales to win. Because at the end of the day, all you need to climb is 51 win rate. Sure, 60 is nice, 70 is great, 80 is insane. That's Smurf level. Like you probably will never even make it to 60 unless you're Smurfing, or you have a very low amount of games. But like at the end of the day, all you need is you need to win these 50-50 games if you want to climb. And this is a good example of this because your mid lane was winning, your top lane went even or is winning. I think he's up in gold right now. Now he's down like 300. Your bot lane lost, but you definitely had enough. Like, this game wasn't over at like 10-15 minutes. You definitely had the tools necessary to carry this game had you played properly, but you did nothing in the whole early game. And like, look at you start like 0-3-1 or something because you just make poor decisions. Like, these are the games that are going to stop you from climbing, because like these are the games where like, you know, your team doesn't instantly lose the game and stuff, and like it's going to be up to you to tip the scales and impact to the win. A lot of this game is legitimately just you don't pay attention to your camps, your respawns, and just like clearing properly. So I'm going to hop into a practice tool game for you and show you some like a common path and just like how you should be like clearing.
Just give me 1 sec. Sorry, I'm just gonna turn on my AC.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with, yeah. It comes to improve. That's the whole point of it.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay. I'll screen share in a second once I get in. Actually, one second. Let me just start now. Do you know what runes you run?
Yeah, so AD Marks, AS Quince, and then Armor Yellows, Magic Resist Blues.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Good.
It's like the most common one for Lolalytics.
Yep, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it.
And then I tried Thunderlords, but I just feel like Courage of the Colossus is just a little more consistent. So that's the one I take.
Okay. I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with it. I think Thunderlords, once you clean up your early game, helps you a lot with snowballing.
Like early game?
Yeah, which is why I would take it. But just for the sake of consistency, I'm running my Era on this game. Let me turn on the screen share. Okay, so you started red buff. I'm on the wrong side. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. I'll just do it on this side. Okay. So you start W. You got a small leash. So I'll do two tests, right? So I'll do exactly how you cleared. You didn't kite, or I'll do a clear with me not kiting, and then I'll do a clear with kiting, and you can see the difference in speed and HP. So yeah, here we go. So basically, like, this is what you shouldn't be doing. Like, you shouldn't be sitting here tanking it over and over. So I'll just do the standard red walls blue.
Why is this better? Or I mean, I thought the kiting was really more like the most important. I thought it was like efficiency between camps, but I thought it was most important for ranged characters.
Kiting itself, yes, but you'll see just in the time you save if you're kiting properly. Just like just strictly off that, how much your clear increases in speed. It's not as pronounced in like red walls blue, but it should still have a pretty solid impact. Ice clear is a lot better than I thought.
It's actually pretty sweet. So anytime I play another champion, I feel like, man, this clear sucks.
Okay, so 244. That's what it was. Do you ever practice your clear?
No. I honestly, like, I gotta say, I have very little time to play.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, I feel like the time I do get to play, it's just, I'm basically just trying to spam rank.
Okay. So what I'll do here is I will pop both of my E's and then I'll start kiting it. I want to pull it out first so I hit all of them. Okay. I'm gonna hit them each once.
Oh, it's a proc to red.
Yep.
Okay.
That should die to red. That should die to red. Oh, it didn't die to red. Okay, whatever. I can just kite it up. I have my E here. Okay. Okay, that's actually probably won't save any time because Vi's 3 cap is so good and because of how our W works. Okay, I have to illustrate it with something else. I have to do.
That's fine.
I have to do probably Raptors clear. Vi's clear is too weird because the way Vi basically you don't have enough attack speed normally. Basically like Elise, like any other champ doesn't have enough attack speed for it to be efficient to just sit there and hit the monster, but because of how Vi's W works, where you just keep getting attack speed, it actually doesn't matter. So it doesn't actually really save any time.
It's a question for you in terms of what's optimal, because what I find is if I save my smite for wolves, and then I can actually get through all of my camps like pretty healthy, because usually bot leashes until, yeah, bait leashes until like my red camp's dead. I don't smite, or my first camp usually. But then like, oftentimes then when I'm doing my second buff.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
so
no.
Bad. Yeah. Keep going.
Well, oftentimes when I'm doing my second buff, I actually finish before my smite is up.
Okay.
So now my second smite is up, but I didn't get to use my blue. Is it ideal to just go clear my cramp or clear my gromp or something? Or should I be ganking? Or should I be using it on Scuttle for like vision control nerver? Or
Just
like
having one smite charge doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like, that's fine. Like, you can use it to invade or anything. You can do anything with it. Also, I've never done Raptors clear on Y, and I cancelled like 10 autos because I don't have W attack speed. Holy shit, that was actually so bad. This is probably not the best champion illustrated on. Yikes. Especially because my FPS is like super low because Skype screen share is a really cool program. You said you don't use Skype very often, right?
No.
I wish I could say the same.
I mean, it's probably like the most ubiquitous screen sharing tool, I guess, but
Yeah,
interface kind of sucks enough, to be honest. It's
everything about it sucks. I wish I didn't have to use it.
It feels like it's stuck in
Yeah, it's definitely outdated.
like the early 2000s in terms of UI.
Yeah, the second, oh boy, I cannot. I'm just canceling 40 autos. The second Discord gets screen share, I'm never using this program again. God damn. I don't think I can illustrate the clear. What am I gonna do? Fuck. Let me spawn a dummy. So, what I can show you is, let me level me up. Let me turn all this off. So, a big thing you did multiple times that game is, how often do you play Vi, actually?
It's basically the only champion I play unless it's banned or taken.
Okay. Let me get some attack speed, because I cannot stand this right now. It's like, I'll just buy a Trinity Force. Okay. So, what you were doing was, you would do this, right? You were queuing into R, right?
Yeah.
So, it's much better, instead of this, to just Q, auto E into the reset, and then R. So,
is there any chance for flashing in there? I guess because I think the one time I did it on Ori, I was just I was just trying to save the guy, so I was like, but like.
God. But what? I'm still
Is
listening.
there? I thought it was. Is it dissimilar at all to the like Gragas?
No. It's completely different. Because the thing about this is like, so let's okay, we'll measure it. Okay, so this flash. Okay, spawn dummy right here. Then okay, so if you queue someone right, and let's say this is the dummy dude, and that's where he's gonna be where he flashes. Okay, we'll actually put him even further back. So let's clear. Let's spawn a dummy. We'll flash. And then we'll put him a little further behind because he'll get knocked a little bit by the Q, okay? So let's say he's right there, right? So I'm gonna Q, right? And let's say he flashes to the second dummy. Still in range.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter at all. So you're free to just Q, auto E, and then you get the proc and then R. So it's not only is it just like more damage, your R will do more damage too because of the fact that you've armor broke them beforehand. And it's like completely consistent because you'll if they flash like immediately, I think if you do it a little slow, like it's really hard for me to auto cancel quickly because this FPS really just sucks. But I'm quite positive you'll at least get one auto in before they can flash. Worst case scenario, you only get one auto in instead of the auto E. It is an auto reset, so. But worst case scenario, you only get one E in and then you follow with the ult, but then you only need one more auto to break their armor, and you get the W proc off that. So at the very least, you always go for the auto E to get the armor break first, but if like you Q and they flash, and you don't get the third auto, it's not the end of the world. Just ult them after anyway, and then hit them with E after. God, I'm canceling autos, I suck. So other things I just want to show you real quick, because I didn't get a chance really in the replay because it never was really an opportunity. You did it a little bit during the game, but when you get a chance to go into enemy jungle, either because you have mid priority or whatever, The two places you want to put a ward are right here, either right here or in this bush. You want to put it right here, and obviously the same thing here, either right here or right here. And the main reasons is like, if I'm walking up this way, this ward will see me. If I'm walking down this way, the ward will see me. If I'm hitting the blue buff, or if I go toward the blue buff, this ward will see me. Same thing with over here. If I'm crossing upwards this way, that ward sees me. If I'm hitting my rafters, going downwards, this ward sees me. If I'm walking this way, ward sees me. And any way I get seen by this ward, it's very easy to infer where I'm going. If I'm going this way, I'm going to bot side. My top side's probably all cleared. If I'm going upwards and I skip rafters, then I'm probably going to red. And if you know red's not up, then it's Krugs into top almost all the time. And if I go straight to here and I clear out this whole camp, you know, I smite it and I kill it. I have a million cooldown, I kill it, and then I don't show back up on the ward, then you know I walk this way. And then that means I'm either going to scuttle, most likely, or I'm ganking mid immediately. And then as soon as they don't show back up on the sword, you take a look at mid lane, and it's like, oh, if this is gankable, set up the counter gank immediately. Same thing with top. If top's gankable and he doesn't really show on the sword after killing raptors, then you know, oh, he's probably going to go top, you set up for that. Whether that's going bottom, because you won't make it to top, or counter ganking top, whatever, just get ready for it. And what this ward gives you is advance notice to set up a play. And that's why this ward and this ward are so good. Yeah. So, I guess it doesn't really matter, I guess, for Vi, as far as like the clearing efficiency goes. But one thing you still should get in the habit of is like this, pulling it into the bush. So you can actually pull it all the way to this bush, or you can actually pull it straight into this bush and clear it here. And it still won't reset, but barely. Okay, I did it wrong. You can pull it into the bush. God damn it. I can't show anything today. You have to pull it. Make sure it doesn't lose patience until it makes it all the way in. And then you can clear it. So yeah. Pull it over there to safety. The other way you can do it is, let me spawn the jungle camps. You can pull it upwards and then to like right here. And then if they're waiting in this bush, they can't see it. And they have to check this bush first. And then, like, if there's, like, they'll either check this bush or they'll check, like, up here. But by the time they make it up here, the hope is that you're done with it already, because they can't see you from here. They have to walk all the way to the side because of how vision works. Like, if it's right there, like, look, I can't see, right? I have to walk all the way out here to see it. So if they're invading through here, like if you have like a ward like right there and you see them walk over, you just pull it over to like here, and then they can't see you here. You can clear it safely so you don't get killed by Master E, like what happened there. And like same thing on this side. You pull it to the bush, or pull it to like right out here. I think you pull it like to like right here. I think it's about the limit. It starts like resetting if you go like a little further. Yeah, that's gonna reset. But yeah, you can pull it to like right there. So like someone who walks in like this way, won't see it, right? They have to walk to like right here, and then if it's like right there, I still don't really see it. So you have a little bit of safety. Obviously, if they hit the plant like they did here, then yeah, they're just gonna see you and you're fucked. But if there's no plant and you're afraid of them coming, you can just pull it to like right here and just clear it. If you don't want to get invaded on, or you're afraid that an invade is coming. Yeah. So let me do just a clear of like I'm not really gonna like show like any. I kind of more about the path more than anything here, not just like the speed or anything. So timing. So if you rafter start, your rafters will respawn like 430, 440. But like you said, the normal path is usually red wolves into blue, or the opposite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you do red wolves blue, your wolves will tend to respawn around like 445, 440. But if the enemy jungler did the same path as you, then you can also prepare for his spawn at 440, 445, and you can play around that in two ways. One, you either go kill it as it spawns, or you just infer that he'll be in the area. Oh, I sealed the wrong ability, god damn it. Or you just infer that he'll be at the wolves when they spawn. One of the two. So you can actually play around this relatively easily. So I'm just going to do an example route here. God, I should have skilled E. This is terrible.
So when would you ever do Raptor second?
Very rarely. Basically, if you don't think you can gank top side, or basically when you don't think you can gank top. So you just want to get the most EXP out of your route. But if you're gonna get the most EXP out of your route, you might as well start Rafters. It's a bit different for Vi. I know I did it poorly, but I don't know if there's a healthy Rafter start for Vi. I feel like they might just all be unhealthy, so it might not ever be worth it to start on it, even though it is more EXP efficient. So I'll get most of this cleared around like somewhere around 3:30, so it's easy to play off of the information. So if I was healthier, like I cleared properly instead of whatever the fuck I did, and I know I can 1v1 the enemy jungler, like maybe it's like a tank or something, and I know they're probably doing red wolves blue, then you come over here, you want to queue, and then you check right here. You take a look at this plant, you hit this plant, you hit it towards upwards so you can see, are they on Krugs, are they on red, and obviously when you step over you see if they're on rafters. You drop one of your trinket wards here, I have two, right? And then you have full control, you know what they're doing because you've hit the vision plant and you have a ward on the rafters. And then you can play off that, you know, if the rafters are up and he's like on the red or something, then you can just take the rafters. Clear them out real quick. If he's on like Krugs or red, you can fight him, whatever. And then you can grab the Scuttle or Gromp. And then you normally would look for like a reset. I wasted a little bit of time just like panning over and pinging, but the effect is going to be the same here. I'm a little late to it, but you basically clear this out and then you reset, and then you know his wolves are coming up, so you can walk straight to the wolves. And if you're stronger, then you can look to fight him at it. Or like if you don't want to fight, then you would just buy your item. I guess here you'd buy a jungle item, you'd buy a control ward, and then you would go over to here, and then you can probably suspect like he'll be in the area if he's playing properly. His wolves are spawning right around now, like the respawn is pretty soon. You just drop wards in the jungle, wherever, and then if he's not on the dot, you can check if he is on the dot by hitting this plant. Then you can just like counter jungle him, and then he'll usually show back up on the wards you've placed, and you know where he's gonna be. Because the thing is, like, it's very easy to predict where enemy junglers are going to be. You know, if they start bot side, they're going to end top side and look for a gank. And then if there's no gank, they'll probably do rafters, and then maybe Krugs, and then they'll keep looking that whole time. They'll probably be top side for a full minute, minute and a half. If nothing's gankable, then they'll probably recall, or like go get the Scuttle, but they'll be late to wolves. You can take that, you can counter jungle that, drop your wards, and then, you know, after they're done with all that, they'll probably recall, but they'll be late. You'll have already taken all their camps. You'll know where they are because of your wards, and then you can just, if they done rafters early, or if it's respawning quickly, then you can go meet them at it, or you can just ping out your bot lane, like, oh, he's probably going to look for a gank because he has no camps up, etc., etc. Like, once you get one spot on the enemy jungler, or just know where he started, it's very easy to plan around what he's going to do. And if you're a strong 1v1 jungler, then you just go fight him. If you're not, then you just go take his camps. Because most people in your bracket are going to be like you. They're not going to be on the dot with clearing, just because they don't know respawn timers very well. They're not efficient with their time, and that's a common thing. You know, it's a lot of people just aren't efficient with clearing, and that's going to be true up until like high platinum, even on low diamond. People obviously not, maybe not to the point like where you were, where you kind of just like didn't farm anything for 4 minutes. But people are not going to be on the dot with the respawns, and you can play around that information really easily. Catch up XP, yeah, it's a thing, but you can usually like catch up XP only works if you actually go farm, and if they're not farming because they don't know how to path efficiently, or if you're just counter juggling all the camps, you know, leaving one small wolf up every time, leaving one small rafter every time, there's nothing to catch up on. So um, don't worry about that too much. Just make sure you're keeping your pathing efficient. Be on the dot with your first respawns. You know, if you're starting rafters, 430. If you're starting wolves, 440, 445, and just be cognizant of like where you go after you base. You know, if you have a full quadrant up, then start at the edge of it, either the Gromp or the Krugs, then clear upwards and look for a gank in between every camp. You know, don't just be like, okay, I'm gonna do one camp and then I'm gonna go gank. You know, look after every camp. Don't waste your time. You got any questions before we finish up?
No, I think that was pretty complete.
Okay. So, if you ever think of anything you didn't think of now, or you want to schedule again, just message me and we'll get something worked out.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, man.
No problem. I'll see you around. Good luck in your games,
Yeah,
man.
good night. Thanks.